Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how I block my work. This is a video I've been wanting to do for quite a while, but it never quite made it to the top of the priority list. So I've just finished working on this doily known as Clovers Galore. It's a beautiful pattern by Hela, the Shade Tree designer. The final round of my doily is in desperate need of blocking, so it's a perfect time for me to get my act together and make the video. I've included links in the description box for the pattern as well as the tat-along videos if you're interested in making the doily. Now I like to block each round as I go. Some people prefer not to block their work at all. Some people just block at the end. As always, it's an individual decision. There's a couple of reasons I like to block each round. By doing this, you're making a foundation to build the next row onto. It means that the following rounds won't be skewed. The elements will match up nicely without pulling or buckling. When you come to do the last round, you'll only have the final round to block completely. You'll be able to get away with minor touch-ups in the other rows if you need to do anything at all. So the last blocking won't be such a huge job. To block, you'll need a mat. You can buy proper blocking mats, but you really don't need to go to this expense. My mat is a kids foam play mat from Kmart. I paid $10 for a set of 4. Now I don't need a set of 4, especially since these are pretty big. They're 62 centimeters square, but that's how these ones were sold. So I also use them to block my crochet. Sometimes the extra size can be quite handy. I like to work with a grid. I just use pattern enlarging paper. It's usually available from most craft and fabric stores. As you can see, the grid is already printed on here. I drew the circles myself in pencil. You need to be careful with what you use to mark your grid. I found that some permanent markers bled into my work, even up through the plastic. It bled through the pinhole. So I just use lead pencil and I cover it with a sheet of plastic. You'll need water. You can just run your work under the tap. You can also use a spray bottle. Your work needs to be damp, not saturated. So either way is fine, whether you use the tap or the spray bottle, but obviously your work's going to take longer to dry if it's really wet. You'll also need stainless steel pins. These are a must. The last thing we want is rust in our work. Okay, now I've been blocking each round of this doily as I've finished it. So now I would normally just pop a pin in here and there to hold it in place and to keep symmetry while I worked the final round. So you're able to see how I block. I'm going to work as if I haven't blocked any of it. So start by placing your work on the grid while it's still damp. Line your rings up as best you can with the center. Now, how well you can do this will depend on what your pattern is. We start placing our pins. I like to start at 12 o'clock, go down to 6 o'clock, across to 9, and then to 3. So we're working on opposite sides to ensure everything is kept centered. Once you've done your central points and you're working out, you work in opposite quarters until you've blocked the round. Now, because I have blocked this before, these little rings don't need to be touched, but if they did, I'd just pop pins in and shape it. Now you'll notice that I'm not putting pins through the middle of the stitches. If you do this, you're going to leave holes, so always place your pin in a ring or up the side of the chain. Rings and chains can be manipulated and shaped by placing pins on either side of your stitches as needed. The other thing I wanted to mention was picots. Now this particular doily doesn't have picots, so I'm going to show you on this little one. When you pin picots, you need to pin them out gently. You don't want to put any strain on them. The pin is there to shape your work, so if you put stress on your picot, pin them out tight when they're wet, that's how they're going to stay. They will dry like that. You'll have sharp pointed picots instead of a nicely curved picot. Okay, that is it. So now I would go around and just make sure that my spacing is even. Might change this one here. Just check on little things like that. When you're done with all your pinning, we leave it to dry. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.